In addition to being credited with creating the modern detective story, Edgar Allan Poe is well known for his Gothic and American romantic poems and short stories. The Purloined Letter is the third of his 3 detective stories. Even though his Gothic stories and poems receive more attention than his detective stories, they continue to serve as important models today. The intriguing detective short story The Purloined Letter is all that it is, if it weren't for its profound psychological implications, which elevate it above the level of a simple detective story. Psychologists wouldn't have spent as much time studying it. Edgar Allan Poe's short story The Purloined Letter is a wordy game of wits rather than a heart-pounding suspense story. It is investigated in terms of power abuse. Each character, including the narrator, abuses their position of authority to further their own political, financial, and personal goals. This story raises questions about the very nature of law and order in a world where politicians, police, and private investigators all rely on lying. Both the general category of short story and the particular category of detective story apply to it. The first edition was released in January 1945. Purloined is another word for stolen, which implies taking something against one's trust, whereas steal does not. In addition, this tale is frequently cited as the precursor to modern detective fiction. Dialogue is used almost exclusively to present it. Additionally, the conversation between the characters, who gradually revealed their information while interacting with one another, reveals the story's main idea. Claims that while most people would have missed the letter, he did not, because he is not like the average person. His goal is to demonstrate that he is superior to the average person. He demonstrates that he is a detective simply based on that. The letter itself is only a literary device around which Poe creates a game of wits in. The story of the Purloined Letter. Despite all the discussion about it, the letter's contents and its political ramifications are left out because they are not necessary to the plot. Significantly, the letter is folded inside out and made to appear insignificant by the minister before Dupin finally finds it and places it carelessly into a rack hanging from the fireplace. For the purposes of the story, the way he hid the letter is very important. Ironically, the letter's contents will never be made more widely known to the fictional Dupin universe than they are to the reader, despite all the fuss surrounding it. This Edgar Allan Poe tale is a solid portrayal of human nature, one might say. Poe tried to illustrate how the two groups of people have different perspectives on the same event. We frequently need to consider things from the viewpoint of others. The minister, the police chief, and even the detective fall victim to various temptations of his characters in the story. Both of these are a result of wealth and power, either directly or indirectly. Detective Dupin serves as the story's main character in the Purloined Letter. He is spot on when he says that people often fail to notice the most obvious things. That is how he discovered the location of the letter during his visit to the minister. Dupin consistently acts in the same way. He constantly presents himself as being superior to everyone he interacts with. It is evident in the way he tells the tale of the big and small signs that help solve the mystery of the letter that wasn't exactly missing. One can say decipher a more general psychological device that Poe employs in his short stories by carefully reading the Purloined Letter. As the saying goes, Dupin's anticipation is a key element in the case's successful conclusion. This is made possible by being able to comprehend and rely on his subject minister's pattern of behavior. Poe refers to the unifying qualities of the world and the mind that support Dupin's predictions as simplicity, by establishing a formula by which the various modes of human thought and action could be understood. Poe is attempting to approximate human behavior to a scientific law in this passage. The plot neither has a shocking conclusion nor a sense of surprise. The letter was kept throughout the story in plain sight, which is the only unexpected element that can be found in the narrative.